Welcome to another episode of Insurance Questions Podcast, episode 96. But it's not insurance questions. What is it, Sarah?
Tax Questions Podcast.
What
See what I remembered. See
what
how that
number?
works? Don't ask me the number. I don't know why
You're in double digits, Sarah.
10.
It's episode number 10.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It is Tuesday, June 25th, 2024. Just so you guys know, that gives you 6 months to buy me a fabulous Christmas present.
7. Isn't it 7 months?
No, it's June,
6.
Don. What is wrong with you? My God.
Don't they celebrate, Christmas in July?
Okay, all those really nice things I said about you before it started, that's all gone now because you don't know how to count.
That's all
Right.
it took.
Oh, and by the
So
way,
I'm going to just get you a big bag of jelly beans and call it a day.
why jelly beans?
I don't know.
What am I, Ronald Reagan?
Sure.
Donnie probably knows what I'm talking about that, but not Sarah.
He always had
No.
a jar of jelly beans.
Hey, guess what? The statements and comments by Eddie Buffalo, Sassy Sarah, and Donnie Lowe are purely for entertainment purposes. Sarah, do your thing. Come on, girl.
I was going to, if you would stop talking.
That's it. I'm getting the Pop-Tarts out.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, share, do all the things on all the platforms. You can even send us fan mail or other communications, like especially through TikTok, if you want us to cover specific tax questions that you want to do or insurance questions.
Sounds good.
Very good.
So what
Awesome.
you got for us today, Sarah?
Well, something really awesome happened today. I was talking with a client, and she said, I heard this from TikTok.
It must be true then.
One of the things I've always said is more than likely it's going to be wrong. And always ask a tax professional. Like, you want to make sure that what you're getting advice from, one, it's accurate, and two, it applies to you. And so she's like, I was told, they mentioned this code or whatever. Never heard of the code. I had to Google it. Like, I'm just going to be honest. And the husband made the joke of like, yeah, she's going to go to Google. Yes, I am. There's too many codes for me to try to remember in the brain.
What was it supposed to be about, Sarah?
Well, so here's the thing. The thing she heard about is basically a charitable deduction. She gives to a charity, she can write it off. I was like, yes, the way I want to structure your business, because she's just an LLC filing as an S Corp, as a Schedule C, which is on the personal tax return. And I'm telling her the benefits of an S Corp. Anyways, the code that she mentioned was a penalty if you receive income and you don't list it. So I was like, that doesn't even apply to you. That's not a thing. It's great. You're writing information down and you're asking me, you're a tax professional. Just a reminder for people that a dime a dozen information on TikTok, majority of it is not going to be accurate or apply to you. It could be accurate because it's an actual code, but it doesn't apply to what she thinks it applies to.
Was there?
So we had that.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Is her S Corp a nonprofit organization?
No. So she was donating to a nonprofit, and that was talking about nonprofits not reporting income.
Oh,
that's kind of the miscommunication that was there. And I haven't seen the TikTok, so it could have been that, and she misunderstood, or the person saying the information did not accurately list it out. But one thing I did want to talk about is S Corps. So, for example, she had this tax professional for many, many years, just listing it as a Schedule C on her business. We've already filed her tax return, and I was going through like, why have you never filed an S Corp? Because I have some clients that they're just like, I just don't want to. Okay. You save on taxes, but hey, if you don't want to, I'm not going to pressure you. I've actually heard that from a lot of people who have Schedule C businesses. But the other people who don't know about it, Well, if we had filed the taxes, they would have saved about $4,000.
Whoa,
Because,
It's a lot of
yeah,
money.
that's
because of
crazy.
self-employment income that gets put on their return, and then there's penalties and extra stuff. So I was mentioning that to her. And so that's what we're going to do for next year, which is interesting because a lot of people don't know benefits of an S corp or corporation versus just filing on your personal return. One of the things that I mentioned to my clients is you build your business as if you're going to sell it. So what that means is you get as much revenue as you can, you write off a good amount of expenses, you take a payroll or your draws where you could actually show the money. One is it helps if you sell your business, it shows it's profitable, you can get the most money for your return. You won't be the asset of the business. And then most importantly is if you need a loan from the bank, line of credit, you show that you have a profitable business. So there's 3 different reasons why to do it that way, whether it's you sell in 2 years or you sell in 20 years or you never sell and you just pass it down. It doesn't matter. It's you need to run it properly to make sure that you actually show income, because worst case scenario, if you need a loan, you want to show that the bank that you have money.
That's true. And I think that's a great thing to, a mindset to have.
Wait a second. Last week when you had me sign that paperwork, were you trying to sell me?
What paperwork was I trying to have to sign?
Oh, fool me once.
And there were no
I do not
takers?
recall, so I have to plead the 5th.
I'm getting screwed here, guys.
So anyway, I think that's a great mindset to have as a business owner, is to, what do I need to do if I need to or want to sell my business in 2 years or 5 years or 10 years or never? You want to be as lean as you can, probably. You want to bring in as much revenue as you can. You want to show a great business that you can eventually earn some decent money from that you built up, So that's a great
Hold on
mindset.
1 second. Do y'all hear my cat? No? Okay,
No.
just me. I'll ignore it then. My cat's like 16 and deaf and is meowing outside my office door. So it's not quiet. So I was like, oh crap. Is
I
everybody?
thought that was Robin. I didn't know it was.
And it's not a pretty meow. It's a I'm dying kind of meow. Like,
You hear that, Robin? You don't have a pretty meow, all right? I know you're listening. You were listening before when we were talking. Robin, the girl Wunder.
The girl Wunder. Oh,
Is she eyeballing you now? Oh, she
my
muted
daughter
herself.
just took her upstairs.
Robin or the cat?
The cat. That way I'm not distracted.
Robin, run if she tries to put you down. All right? It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing, Robin.
She says we have to take a ride. Don't go.
No, don't go anywhere with Sarah. No.
No. Some other things that I did also want to cover, because it was beneficial for them, is making sure you're also writing off all the expenses that you can. Using a tax software is preferable. There's a lot out there. If you don't like QuickBooks, there's other softwares. One I've been using for probably about like 6 or 7 years. It's been around. They just now started charging if you link your bank account and your credit card.
What's it called?
Which is always helpful. Go ahead.
What's it called? Because I didn't think there was anything else out there, to be honest with you.
No, so there's a few. So like, of course, everybody knows about Zoho or FreshBooks or.
No, I don't know any of this stuff.
Oh, okay.
I'm not being a wise guy. I'm being serious.
No.
No,
So, and it depends on how your business operates. Some of the larger corporations use the Sage. That's a more expensive one, but that's for larger corporations.
That's been around a long time.
Talking about, it's called WaveApps, WAVEAPPS. If you're going to be doing the accounting yourself, where you just want to list income and expenses and run your basic financial reports, that's great to do. They will also do your payroll. Of course, they charge a fee for it like everybody else. And if you link your bank accounts or credit cards to categorize everything.
Do you do payroll for anybody, Sarah?
We have a few clients we do payroll.
Is it like different software too?
Different softwares. My thing, I worked with a lot of accountants who try to pigeonhole everybody into one software because it was easier for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm under the philosophy of I'm going to tell you what software is good for you and your business and just work around that.
Now, this is a good question because I don't know this. Now, when you do the payroll for your different businesses, do you supply them with physical checks if the people don't have a bank account? Do you actually deposit the stuff into the employee's bank account, or is that all on the employer side?
So if they're going to be cutting checks, the employer has to do that.
Okay.
And then they just let us know the check number so that we can correlate it when it comes to the accounting software. Everything else can be through direct deposit. And I suggest using a system, tax software to actually run your payroll. Yes, it's more expensive, but then you know that your federal payments are being made and forms are being filed and everything else. And we would have to charge you more just because it's more manual.
Like I'm trying to remember because there used to be software for this. You could actually buy it like Office Max or one of those places.
There are, but it's kind of like the same
payroll
thing.
checks though. I had an outside firm do payroll checks, but I actually, I would make my business checks with the software to pay bills and stuff like that. So
Yes.
Is it like special paper they got to use for the payroll checks with like watermarks and that?
I suggest those.
It's got to be expensive.
It's an actual check because
Yeah.
you need the mica, right?
Yeah.
Magnetic ink,
and
character
then
recognition on the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, Donnie, I was cutting you off. The other thing that's going on is the IRS has a business tax line to pay federal taxes. It's called the EFTPS website. And they're making a lot of changes that's making it more difficult for us to log in and check our client accounts.
In what way? How is it difficult, Sarah?
They're trying to add that author, I can't remember the name of it, but where you sit there and when you log into the IRS website, it has the ID me that you have to go through. Well, either me or the employees have to go through the ID me to try to get information for the client. If we try to call, there's extra steps. Like it used to be, hey, we just want to make a payment for this client. Here's the number. And they take a payment over the phone. And they're starting to stop that. They're trying to make it a lot. I know they're doing it for security reasons, but it's cybersecurity difficult because, like, for example, Texas has an employer where I can have an account as my business and I add the other employers where I'm filing their reports or I'm paying their taxes. The IRS has not caught up to that yet.
Interesting.
That's interesting.
May I make a comment?
Sure.
And it's about Ed's question. Mm-hmm. So you know how if somebody asks me a question, and Ed always gets on my case when I say, that's a great question. Well, here Ed's saying, I've got a great question for you. And then he asks you a question. Well, maybe that question wasn't so great.
Well, let's just pile on Ed today. Is that what we're doing with this, Donnie?
Yeah.
Because we can cut you out of that interview we did this morning, okay?
You're
gone. You're gone. You can be erased and replaced.
It was just an observation.
Well, just an observation.
Why don't you keep those to yourself, Donnie Lowe? All right.
I'm sorry, Sarah,
No, you're
go
good.
Off track.
Wow. I love it how he keeps on interrupting you today. It's like he took over my job.
Hey, that's perfectly fine.
I'm going out of my way not to interrupt, just so you guys know.
I can see it because I see the wheels turning. I see the mouth open, and then I see you sit back, and you're like, okay, I'm not going to do it. You're doing great. Look at you not eating Pop-Tarts before the podcast.
Oh, that sounds delicious. Maybe I should go get some.
Something else I wanted to mention is the ERC program, which is the people who had to shut down during COVID during 2020.
What does that stand for, Sarah, for our listeners?
Employee retention credits. And the IRS put a hold on processing any claims as of September 2023. I have a few clients that paperwork was filed, tax returns were done, or amended tax returns were done, and they haven't received their checks yet. And that's just because they got caught in that shutdown. Because you had those I even got the phone calls of like, you qualify. No, I don't qualify. I would have filed one for myself if I qualified. I don't. But the IRS finally caught up with that in Congress and enacted a law to where they allowed people to retract false or fraudulent ERC claims. They're going to go through and deny all the ones that aren't supposed to get money. And hopefully before the end of the year, they start paying out the ones that actually are supposed to be paid.
See, I know some people back in Buffalo that they got in trouble for getting that money and not dispersing it like they were supposed to. Is that still a thing?
Is that PPP or the ERC? The ERC is more
sure.
Credit for payroll taxes.
Oh, so they weren't actually cutting them checks.
They're cutting them checks, but that's because they paid the taxes in. So they're just getting the PPP is they filed.
That must be what I'm
they
thinking
were
about.
shut down and they were able to get money, but they were supposed to use it for operating expenses. And yes, there's been a lot of fraud with that as well.
I've heard about fraud against partners. Like, okay, I'm not going to tell Donnie, but I'm going to get this money. And
yes,
he doesn't find out, and that's a real thing.
Thankfully, I had one client because they had multiple businesses, and we did file it for one because it made sense, and was like, oh, well, what about this one? And I'm like, you can, but that business wasn't suffering as much as the other one was because the other one was dealing with more travel. And then you have multiple businesses that's filing for it. I don't know if that's going to bring an audit. Like, it could cause more issues. It'd just be best. It'd be safer just to stick with the one because it's not like
raising a red flag.
Right. It's not like you're suffering for the money to where because you had to pay employees and keep everything open and you were going to have to shut down the business if not. I know other people who I've seen it through the all the articles that come out where they took the money and it was a fake business. And it's like, okay, but how many businesses closed because you took that money and you weren't supposed to have it? Like,
that's just crazy. That's nuts.
Yeah,
it really is.
But
are they looking at jail, some of these people, or are they just like a fine, or are they just
no? There's no fine. There, you have to pay it back. To my understanding, you have to pay back. There is the fine, and then there's jail time. It depends on the amount, and a lot of them is a lot of money.
Coco's looking for you, Donnie Low. You better watch out.
Oh, stop! I'm pretty sure nobody heard you.
Coco's got you down, Donnie Low.
So that's a lot of the different things that's coming in with the taxes. I would say for those who own businesses or want to get ahead of the tax situation, start scheduling time with the tax professional between August and December to determine what your taxes owed are going to be, what everything's going to look like. Because you can use estimates to kind of figure out.
That early, Sarah?
Yes. So what happens is, let's say you just have a W-2 job, you got a raise. There can be calculations done to determine, are you going to owe the same thing as last year? Is it going to be more? Is it going to be less? To determine what taxes need to be paid before the end of the year. If you owe a business, same thing. You can kind of look at, are you increasing in business? What's the increase? What was the ending quarter for? And then increase that by, let's say you do 20% growth from January to September. I would take your October through December numbers, increase that by 20% because that's just a safe estimate. Look at your expenses, determine which ones need to be increased to figure out what your profit will be. And if you owe taxes or if there's depreciation, there's like a whole lot of different calculations that need to be added to it. That's a very simplistic way to look at it, but that will give you a rough idea of what needs to be paid before December 31st. because you have to have 90% of your taxes paid before December 31st, or you get penalized and get interest. Because, it's the IRS.
So what if, say somebody's, just humming along at a certain rate, maybe they're W-2 and part of their earnings are commission. And well, I guess in that case, it doesn't matter, because if they get a real big bonus check in December, it would be taken care of. But what about a business owner?
I don't
that would be the thing, is you would have to factor that in. I would always tell people in that case, if let's say you get a cash bonus, they don't even put it on your payroll. They don't take out any taxes.
And that happened back in the day. I got many cash bonuses when I was in collections.
Yes. So what I would do is take bonuses are a higher tax rate than your normal. So I would take at least 30% of whatever your cash bonus is and just pay the IRS. Just on their website, you can just send the payment. Worst case scenario, you overpay them and you get a big refund. Best case scenario, you paid exactly what you owed and you don't owe more.
What do you think, Sarah, about, I know we don't like talking about politics, but one of the candidates for president has said that once that they are president, that they are going to stop taxes on tips. Where would they make up that gap of the money they're not making on tips? Don't get me wrong. I'm sure not everybody
is reporting their
everything.
tips.
Exactly.
That's
so it's kind of like a gray area.
Mm-hmm. I know people who tip in cash just so that the waiter or wait staff didn't have to report it. My thing is especially with AI, especially with them wanting to crack down on Zelle and bank accounts, if it's over a certain amount, like eventually you're going to get caught that you're just getting extra income. So it's best to just pay the taxes and suck it up.
See, I only know this because my daughters were servers, that most businesses, if you tip on your card, they used to, like, some of them would actually cash them out at the end of the night, or some of them would actually take taxes out and put it in their paycheck. So they had to wait for that. So, I mean, if you want to be a nice guy or girl, tip your waiters or waitresses in cash. And it's up to them if they want to claim it.
Well, so here's the thing is it could be still entered in on their payroll by putting that you gave them a cash tip.
And that's W-2 money if they do it that way? Yes. That's crazy.
If you receive anything, I want to say it's over $25. I don't think it's changed much. I mean, even if let's say you won a raffle and you got a $4,000 TV, you got to claim that. You have to pay taxes on that.
Okay. So, it's we're opening up a big can of worms here. So I tip somebody and it's like $12 tip. And they don't have to claim it. You just said that. It's under $20 or $25, did you say?
No, they should always claim it regardless.
So if they're combining it in one big ball, they're going to get taxed on it.
Yes, that's what you do. So, for example, one of the clients, we process their payroll, they get tips and they get cash tips. This person puts their tips on there. We gross it up so that the employee pays taxes on it. And what they get in cash tips is more of just a net. That way they're paying their taxes. It's going to be reported on their W-2. Everything is good. So that's what should happen, is it should be reported. Taxes should be paid. Yes.
So say if, like, I go to the barbers or I go to the same restaurant and I know the girl and I want to give them a $50 gift certificate.
Same thing.
Well, how do you claim that? It's paper. It's not money. It's
still money.
It's money, but it's not money. Because what are the chances they're going to use it? Sometimes they don't even use the freaking thing, or they lose the gift certificate or something like that.
It's money equivalent.
It's the same thing you said, like somebody wins a $4,000 TV.
Yep. So yeah.
Because those are tough jobs, and right now it's the point where, I mean, after COVID, I don't know how it was here in Texas, but in Buffalo, it was like, you got what you got service wise, because those are the folks that actually showed up and came back to work.
Yeah.
So my philosophy on it, as I know in Europe and other countries, you don't tip,
Really? I
but they're
didn't know
paid,
that.
but they're paid an actual wage.
I mean, when we went to islands, I mean, in the Caribbean, you tipped, I don't know.
I think it's more beneficial. So in my head, people who should be waiters or working for tips should be people who are not trying to support a household. Going to school, working on, no, and I know people get stuck in it or they just really love it. That's perfectly fine. But because of the amounts that they're making, that would just be my suggestion. But that's me personally. I know that's not how the world works. I think that people who are supporting a household should be paid a livable wage, but they should also be looking for positions that pay they don't have to take a position that does tipping. They can go to another job that's paying more money. Their thought is I can make more with tips.
It's the truth.
And they could.
I see it in my own family.
Unless they are a really sucky server.
True.
And they don't work at Dick's, which is a restaurant where they can be rude to you.
It's funny you say that, Sarah. I know you like falling down rabbit holes. Look up Karen's Diner in England.
Oh my God, no.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
And if they're a lousy bartender, oh my goodness, they'll really go down fast.
Well, that's funny because I remember being at a place in Buffalo and the guy was hammered behind the bar. And I handed him a 20 and he gave us our drinks with like, I don't know, couple dollars change. And I saw him put my 20 in his pocket.
Oh.
Well, how about something like that, Sarah, where they're actually just stealing it? Because we know as long as you claim it, you can steal stuff, right, Sarah? Let's go back to that.
It is not encouraged for you to do illegal activities, but I do encourage you to
Once
report
again, the
it
statements by
to
Eddie.
the IRS so that you are not arrested like Al Capone. Just remember, that's what he went down for. He didn't go down for any gang-related activity that he was doing.
Yep.
It was because
it's evasion.
IRS. But that is really weird. So that's exactly what the other restaurant does is they have really rude servers. My thing is I'm not going to pay you to be rude to me. That's
Sarah,
just not.
they have a hotel too.
No.
So you're talking about this Karen's Diner in the UK somewhere?
Yes. Kind of do the same thing.
The
They're
language
rude
they
to you.
use is unbelievable.
Really?
Yes.
I never heard of it.
You gotta look it up, Donnie. It's just
especially now. I mean, Wimbledon's starting next week, right?
You're the tennis person, or are you still playing pickleball? You hate it when I say it.
Hold on. Wait for him to come back because the audio freezes with him, and then So going to Karen's Diner, you have to be accompanied by a parent or guardian for lunch if you're under 14, 16 for dinner, and language may be offensive and inappropriate, so anyone under 18 years of age to attend prior to 5 p.m.
Do you know what they were calling the one guy's kid? His pet sperm.
How do you find out?
They're having a good old time. They're laughing.
Because he's on TikTok, and it was probably on TikTok.
No, it was on the YouTube, so you know it was real.
The use of the
absolutely.
tubes.
Yes.
Yes. So that's just, I mean, claim your tips is all I'm saying. But I would rather they get paid a livable wage and just not be tipped, and the tip, because I mean, tipping is just going out of control.
Sarah,
like Starbucks and other restaurants are asking for tips. No, because I didn't get to go on this tangent.
Sarah,
I'm going on.
I am being so good right now, just so you know.
So,
I am being so good.
Starbucks and other places are asking for tips, and I'm like, you just made my coffee. I'm sorry. I know you get paid a good.
Sarah, when do you ask for tips?
Anyways.
Oh, that's a meme right there. So Sarah,
No, not a meme. Tyler, cut that out.
So there's a coffee chain. Well, I don't know if we can say the name or not, but a coffee donut chain. It started in Canada. It spread throughout the United States.
Timmy Hose.
Oh yeah. They do not
don't care
allow
anymore,
you to
Don.
tip.
See, to me, that's awesome. Like,
They do not
because
allow you.
everybody's expecting to get this
Really?
large tip for minimum service. Now, don't get me wrong. If I do Grubhub, DoorDash, or grocery delivery or something, I'm going to tip because your wear and tear on your car, for me being lazy and not wanting to get out the house, that's just my fault, right?
I can't believe that's a thing. And that people pay so much to have stuff delivered to them. That's crazy.
I stopped at when they started raising everything. Like, I'll do it from time to time.
That's insane.
But like, I'll do grocery pickup, but there's no tip. It's like they pay it's an employee owned grocery chain that's really growing in Texas. So they get shares in the business.
Y'all talking about that HIB
I
or
am
the
talking about
Kroger's?
HEB.
HEB.
So, but anyway,
Fabulous barbecue restaurant in each HEB, Don. Delicious.
Oh, really?
Delicious. Yes.
Sounds
So
good.
if you want HEB, y'all want to sponsor Eddie Buffalo, I'm all about it. Because I'm your private dancer. Dancer for money.
goodness
At least you
sake.
slowed down with your accent.
I tried to, and she hollered at me for that.
No. No.
Sassy Sarah said that when
Oh my God, stop. Stop.
something wrong with me when I talk like that.
I hate it when people talk slow. It bothers me. And I'm pretty sure it's ADHD related, but I'm like, oh my God, finish the thought. Why are you taking so long to finish the sentence? Like this. And literally that's what goes through my head. And I'm just sitting there like this.
You know, Sarah, another thing I found this weekend that you might enjoy is slap fight championships. Google that, and you're gonna go down.
I've seen that. That actually.
Yeah, like they'll just stand there, Don, like this, and they just wail on the person. I've seen them get knocked out cold. The one girl, she falls on the floor, and her hands are like this, and the announcer's like, "Look it, rigor mortis is set in." Like, oh my Lord, you know.
Why anybody does anything like that is way beyond my
Don't start
comprehension.
watching it because you can't stop watching it once you see it. I seen the one, it was like hillbilly slap fighting. They're like out in the middle of the woods in a boxing ring. Instead of ropes, they had barbed wire. It's just, I like, what the heck is this?
Oh my
And they
gosh.
say boxing is barbaric? No. At least I know that I'm gonna get hit. You know, there you're just like, okay, hit me.
Smack.
Oh my God, Don. I'm gonna send you some videos. I know you're probably not gonna watch them, but morbid curiosity, you might want to. Let's see, what is he talking about? No, I feel like we're talking about a lot of stuff that's not about taxes. But if you slap someone really hard and you get championship money, what are the tax implications?
Rephrase that?
Oh, did I talk too fast? What I said.
My brain did not process what you said.
Okay, I'm slap fighting Don. I win $3,000. What's the tax implications
You
for
have
me
to
winning?
report it.
To who?
Any income, you have to report it.
And how about when poor Don gets to go to the hospital to get all rehabilitated from me slapping the crap out of him?
Then he gets to deduct the hospital stay and
There
visit.
you go. There you go. That's where I was going, Sarah.
You want to slap me?
Yeah. Oh, I want to slap you, Don.
Oh, he says he
Sure.
wants to slap you and fire you like every other day. Like, shh, just ignore him. He's all talk, no bite.
All I know is that I can outrun him.
Yes, you can, Don. Yes,
But
maybe.
if I stumble,
Not if you know, what if you trip over one of your gold bars while you're grabbing your pickleball paddle? Do you know, Don, I was thinking about you this weekend. They have professional pickleball people.
Oh yeah, it's huge. There's tournaments.
Why?
I know. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's like it's the hottest sport, I think, of any sport.
Why
It's
is that,
growing so
Don?
fast.
Have you played it?
No, not really. No.
I mean, I've screwed around with the kids in the driveway, batting it around,
That's
but
all I've done.
kind of felt
Yeah.
like I was playing ping pong.
That's what it feels like. It's ping
Mhm.
pong that you're standing up, on the ground just playing ping pong instead of a table. But people are very serious about
Like Donnie Lowe.
it.
Are you hoping it's an Olympic sport soon, Don?
Oh my gosh. All these things they're adding to the Olympics.
Will you present our country in pickleball, Donnie Lowe?
Will
That's
I
that's your
present our
that's your job.
country?
Yeah, you need to be a pickleball professional player.
You know what would be cool?
Hmm.
Curling. I
Curling
would love
is an
to.
Olympic sport.
I know. I would love to try that.
You
Oh,
haven't? I tried it once.
Never tried it.
Yes.
Do you know
Yes.
what curling is, Sarah?
yes, I've seen it.
That's when you do stuff to your hair so it's real purty.
Okay. What hair do you have that you do that with?
I'm not making any comments about that. My
Or not.
daughter and I went to a curling competition in St. Catharines, Ontario, and we were on international TV. We had like
Shut
front row
up.
seats. Oh
Are
my
you
God, we had a
serious?
riot. It was,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
it was so
awesome.
cool.
Oh my
So
God.
cool.
Well, look like when we were kids. Remember bowling for dollars?
Yeah.
You know, I saw like I don't forget what channel has it, but they're showing the stuff from the 70s. It's celebrity bowling.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's all these like from the 70s TV shows and everything. Up, I gotta go get a Texas bug. I'll be right back. You can talk amongst yourselves.
Talk amongst ourselves. Are you going to get your laundry out?
No, there's a huge bug crawling on my wall.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, so actually the curling was pretty cool to watch in person. And it was
Gross.
CBC, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. It was a lot of fun.
That's,
I don't know. Did you catch
so
the bug?
any other questions you have tax wise that we can cover?
I think we're good. It's interesting about the different software though, how some are better, some are more well known, but they're not as good as maybe some of the lesser known ones.
Yeah, so my thing is with QuickBooks, it's overrated. Like this year has been a little bit better because the problem they had is they went into so many different divisions. They had third parties that handled them. You were talking to different departments, nothing really worked. And they're starting to fix that and make it more unified. But one other problem you have is if you try to call their support or chat with them, they're paying people $12 an hour who should be experts when it really should be double, if not triple that.
Sure.
So you get what you pay for.
That's true. That's true. Very true.
It
Did you
costs
get
you
the bug?
nothing to hang out with me, Sarah. So eat them words. You get what you pay for. You too, Donnie. Suckers.
Oh, how lucky we are.
So, Sarah, were we going to go for an hour-long show? Is that what we're going for? We're doing a marathon here.
I was just letting y'all talk. I was waiting for you to shut it down because that's what you do.
Well, once again, we had another fantastic tax show on Insurance Questions podcast with the
That's
lovely,
right.
sassy Sarah. I got a little bit of salt today, and she got a
Okay.
beautiful shirt on today. She's got a little bit of color, not a lot, a little bit. I was teasing her when she came on. It was like a white screen. I'm like, you're very pale today.
Yeah. So I have the little thing that goes over the camera
Oh, I do
and I can
too.
slide it back. Yeah.
So fancy.
So fancy.
So, like we end every other show. If you like working with people that are just like you. We're the people to see. www.ebiagency.com. Go to the partner page. You'll find Sassy Sarah at McCutcheon Advisory Service. And the phone number here to reach all of us is 716-306-2020. So for Sassy Sarah, Donnie Lowe, and your buddy Eddie Buffalo, until we meet again, stay safe and be good. And make sure you turn in. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. We taped an episode earlier today for Wednesday's show with Billy Sheen, Talus, David Lee Roth, Mr. Big, and I had a bet who was going to geek out more, Donnie Lowe or our producer, Tyler, our creator. And you guys did really good. Donnie had some good questions. I'll tell you much. You're going to enjoy it, Sarah. So make sure you tune in and like and subscribe when you're doing so, Sarah.
Will do.
All right. Take care, everybody. I got to find the button now. Hang on.
Find that button. Ciao.
All right. Bye.